Hello everyone, I am Tessellating Hexagons, and yesterday, we had a double whammy of Eurovision song reveals, they were national finals, but they culminated in song reveals. This was kind of an awkward way of wording it. Anyway, of the two that we had yesterday, Georgia was the first to select their song for Eurovision, and honestly, I was very impressed with the lineup in their national final, because Georgia, you never know what to expect from them. They are kind of the biggest wildcard in the contest, and they had a lot of variety in their selection, and for that, they deserve a lot of credit. In the end, they went with, I'm not sure whether it's Tama or Tamara, her stage name is Tako Gachechiladze, and the song Keep the Faith, which is in English, and music and lyrics by, again, Tako Gachechiladze. And yes, I looked it up, it is pronounced Gachechiladze, because it's spelled with the letter Chini. A bit of fun fact from my research behind the song, because I mentioned this because last year I wasn't sure whether his name was Kocharov or Kocharov, so again, apologies for that. Anyway, you might remember last seeing Tako in the Eurovision world as a member of the group Stefana and 3G, who were barred from representing their country in 2009 because their song sounded a little too much like it was insulting Vladimir Putin. You may remember, "We don't want to put in." Hard to believe that was almost 10 years ago now, but hey, clearly everything has changed since then. So what are my first impressions of this song? You know, this one actually blindsided me quite a bit. I did listen to all of the songs when they were first announced for the Georgian selection, and a few dropped out since then, and honestly, the only two that stuck with me were On the Top and Light It Up, which at the time was titled Bit Hard and Avol Waves, because the Georgian broadcaster didn't realise that those were the composers and not the title of the song, but I digress. I really don't know how this one slipped under my radar. I like it, it's a surprisingly competent little number. And given what else was going on in the world on the day it was selected, I'd say that it's pretty damn pertinent as well. I'm not going to name any names, but a certain very large country did swear in a certain orange man into their highest seat of power. Keep the faith. In any case, I didn't know what to expect with this one, because I'd heard from one source that this was one of the two fan favourites in the selection, alongside Robot Horse's White Horse's Run, which came second, I think. But then I made the mistake of looking at the so-called fan groups on Facebook, and I don't know why I bother with those. They're so cliquey and full of hatred for each other, and just, I don't know why I bother. I saw nothing but spite for this song on those groups. Anyway, I digress about the nature of Facebook. I went into this one with nothing to go on but a brief acoustic performance from a brief interview with her before the show, and I only watched that because I wanted to confirm that her name is indeed pronounced Gachechiladze, because that was a big deal for me. I wanted to definitely make sure I got it right this year. So yeah, out of context, the melody of the chorus didn't inspire confidence, but then I heard the song in full. So what do I like about this song? Well, watching her perform live and then listening to the studio version, the main word my mind keeps coming back to time and again to summarise her style is competent. This is a very competent song. It's got solid composition, it's got a solid performance, and it's just very, very professional. Now, by the nature of its genre, it might not stand up quite so well outside the Eurovision bubble. At the very least, it wouldn't stand up in this country, outside of the Eurovision bubble, but that's because the UK is a little bit cray-cray like that. UK cray-cray. But in the world of the contest, this is a good song, both structurally and technically, all that good stuff. The message is one that will probably never not be relevant, sadly, but after coming out of a year like 2016, we really need to keep the message of this song in mind. Damn, we need inspiring. It's uplifting, but not in a patronising way. It's empowering, whilst recognising that it's not your fault if you need to be empowered by it. And the key factor that ties all these points together, Tako's live performance. That's where this song really shines. Kind of sideways reference to Georgia 2010 there. With the right staging and delivery, this song will really hit home when it's performed live in Kiev. It doesn't need the real-world visuals from her national final performance either. Like, it worked, but it can survive on abstract shapes and lighting, as long as the delivery is fine. It just needs the right staging, the right kind of minimalist kind of choreography, nothing huge, no, like, ball dancers on swagways or something like that. No, it just needs a sincere delivery, a couple of backing singers to deliver the backing vocals, obviously, nothing over the top. It doesn't need the shocking headlines in the background or any of that. Now, I have mentioned in previous years the importance of a song being able to fill the stage or to fill the arena so it doesn't get swallowed up by the space around it, which happens a surprising amount in the contest. You would have thought people have learned by now, but Anyway, I firmly believe that this song is very, very capable of filling the stage. It might not be to everyone's tastes, but I can see this impressing, at least on a technical level, when it gets to Kiev. Now, what do I not like quite so much about this one? Well, I'm not going to deny, while the message of this one is very strong, the lyrics do have questionable moments. The verses are fine, there's pretty much no problems there, that's stylistically brilliant, actually. It's the refrain that I take issue with. It's nowhere near as bad of an offender as, say, Nina Sablati from 2015, but either her diction leaves a little to be desired, or she literally is just singing "Don't let nobody turn you down, even if the world is round." So is she a flat earther, or am I just mishearing? Apart from that, yeah, there are some cliches in there, but I suppose that's to be expected with a song like this. Yeah, terrible things are happening in the world. I concede there are only so many different ways to say that, so props to her for doing it in a cliched but not plagiarized way. That's not what I mean. Credit to her for saying what she's saying in such a way that she's not repeating the words of other people, even if she is spouting some cliches. That's what I mean. As for the instrumentation itself, on the whole, I think it's really good. Again, that word again, competent, sound, structurally solid. There are some interesting digital-sounding synths in there as well that I would really like to hear emphasized by the time it reaches the contest. So I don't think this one will get revamped necessarily. If it does, I would like them to bring up the synth a little bit, because that worked for Bessoy in the junior contest, and I think, again, there's a comparison to be made between that and this, but I'm going a little bit off topic. So yeah, instrumentation-wise, it's great, except for the ending. I don't know if it was deliberately going for the Rise Like a Phoenix approach, but the way the song ends on a sting from the brass section, which only appears in like the last 30 seconds, it really doesn't fit the tone of the song, in my opinion. It's like 2 minutes 58 of a serious, conscious, woke AF ballad, with 2 seconds of electro swing at the end. It sort of kill the moods a little bit, in my opinion. But that could just be me. I don't know. And I could mention how the final refrain almost sounds like "keep the faith," but every time she says "keep the faith," it changes key. But I'm just so over the key change discussion at this point. I have my hesitations, but I'm just going to drop it there. So, my scores out of 10. Well, I'll start with my technical score out of 10 with this one, and I give it a 9. The song's got a lot going for it in the technique department. A great voice, powerful composition, capacity to fill the stage. But I'm afraid I simply can't overlook the ending. The whole cluster strike of key changes, or at least what sounds like it. Anyway, there's at least 2 in there, I'm sure. Combined with the randomly jazzy ending that it juxtaposes a bit too jarringly with the tone of the rest of the song. And that's what keeps it from being a perfect 10 out of 10 on a technical scale for me. Well, that and I suppose the fact that it's a fairly safe song. It's not breaking any new ground with this, though what it does do, it does very well, and that's worthy of recognition. It's just not immensely, unbelievably something you've never heard before. Now, my personal rating out of 10, in my own personal subjective opinion, I give it an 8. On a bad day, I'd point out that it's cliché, by no means the worst offender of all time, and then I'd cite my own personal displeasure with the ending, but that's about as vicious as I could be, really. I enjoy listening to this song. Admittedly, my younger self of about 10 years ago would just hear the first couple of seconds, realise it's a ballad, and then just turn it straight off, because child me was impatient like that. But then again, child me would have liked Russia last year, and now I have my reservations, but that's all in the past. But I digress. Some people will find this boring, but as ballads go, I think it's more than a decent offering. With the right staging, my personal rating could quite easily go up. But for now, it's a solid, decent 8 out of 10 for this solid, decent ballad. Compared to last year, well, how does one compare anything to Midnight Gold, really? Especially with the treatment the staging received, whether on TV or in person, that was a spectacle, seriously. Compare, for example, Georgia and Armenia last year. Live, Midnight Gold works just as well as it does on TV. I was there in person for the jury final, and I can confirm that Midnight Gold looks brilliant even if you don't see the fancy visual effects on screen, whereas Armenia, it was just Iveta Mikuchyan just giving it all this for 3 minutes. So, the staging was an experience, whether it had the kaleidoscope effect or not. And that brings me back to the notion that Keep the Faith in every conceivable way is a very safe song. Midnight Gold was challenging and unconventional, and it does deserve some recognition for that, not to mention recognition to both that and this, for maintaining the Georgian tradition of alternating each year between safe song, weird song, safe song, weird song, which has been going since about 2011 or 2010 at this point. But that's where I come unstuck with a comparison. Tentatively, I'm going to award my favour to Tako's song, but I don't take that decision lightly. Midnight Gold, despite Thomas Jason's meddling, was a legitimately good song. So much so that it got 12 points from the UK jury on the final night. That's a bit wild, really. But its level of challenge and deviation from what's expected caused it to push a lot of people away from liking it. Keep the Faith, on the other hand, is so much easier to get into, and it has a much more real-world kind of story to it. It's based on actual events, whereas Midnight Gold's narrative, it was infectious, it got you into the world of the song's story, but it was just fiction. Whereas, as I said, this song is woke AF. So yes, Keep the Faith is inspiring in a time where inspiration is needed, and for that meta level of consciousness, I have to give it credit here. Now, do I think it'll qualify? Well, despite what I've seen on social media, blasting the song and dismissing it on the spot as a guaranteed non-qualifier, I think this could probably make it into the final quite easily. That's my honest opinion and my honest first impressions, and I present, as evidence, Georgia last year and Hungary in 2015, for different reasons. If Georgia could qualify last year, either because or in spite of how challenging and quirky the song was, then why shouldn't something as tame as this? And if Hungary could qualify in 2015 with the same song but blander, the same kind of song, but it's a song on the same subject, but with less to draw you in, why shouldn't this qualify as well? Plus, I do think her live performance will be something pretty special, or at the very least, incredibly emotive, but we can't say for certain just yet. We don't know what it's up against. For now, though, I don't know where else to fit this in, so when I found out that her stage name was Tako, I'm sorry, I just had to do this. Hashtag Team Tako, anyone? Oh, I'm so sorry for that joke. Anyway, I guess it just remains for me to say, good luck, Georgia, we will see you in Kiev, and well done for being so conscious of the world, I guess? It's a good song. I'm excited to see exactly how Europe responds to it. See you in Kiev.